In this module, we are going to be going over concision and context principles when prompting with ChatGPT. Now, what do I mean by concision and context principles? So if we head back over here to the whiteboard, I've made a little list for concision and context so you can better understand what to put within your prompts. So first, let's look at concision when typing prompts into ChatGPT. Now, concision is very important because chatbots have been trained on this wide variety of data, and the more concise you are with your question, the better output that you will receive. What does being more concise with your input look like? Well, firstly, it is clearly stating what you want, and that can be anything from word count to sorting your tables, formatting, etc. So we went over output formatting, and as you can see, just by being concise in that category, your answer will completely change. So when you're concise across all of your categories and tell ChatGPT exactly what you want, how many words you want, the output format you want, the style, the tone, all of these things that we're going to start getting into, you have to keep in mind that concision is one of the most important items when trying to produce good results. So clearly stating what you want is very, very important. Next on the list, we have using natural language. Once again, this chatbot's been trained on natural language. You know, what if humans either typed or said? So just talk to it and give instructions like you're giving instructions to another human. Next, try to avoid using information that will delay the chatbot response, and this can come most of the time from over-the-top politeness. So I do think it's important to still practice, not just giving commands, especially if a younger audience is using this. It's important to practice your manners and to say please and thank you at all times. But when you're going through really difficult tasks or you need ChatGPT to do something and you do not want to delay your response and you want to get the most accurate response possible, then leave the politeness out of it. The good thing is that it does not have feelings, so it's not going to get hurt if you don't say please or thank you. The last thing on the list is to avoid using words or phrases that have multiple meanings. For example, if you are going to use a word that has multiple meanings, what you want to do is give more information or more context to what that word actually is trying to mean. If you take the word bark, for example, that can either mean a dog barking or it is the outer covering of a tree. So you have to specify either the dog bark or the tree bark. It seems silly, but ChatGPT sees the word bark and it can't necessarily read your mind on what you want. It can get context from the prompt and formulate its own opinion on what type of bark this is, but it's very important that you specify what type of word you're trying to use if it does have multiple meanings. Now, the more concise you are, the more reasoning ChatGPT is going to have to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ChatGPT 4 and I'm going to show you an example of a concise prompt versus an inconcise prompt. So as you can see right here, I have a prompt and it's pretty lame. It says, can you create me a blog post for my social media post comparing cool dog breeds? In the blog post, make a table at the bottom of dog breeds and the cost of them too. Thank you. So we're going to send this off, and this is without the conciseness principles that I've taught you so far. If you hop on ChatGPT, you might be thinking that this is an okay prompt to send off, and it will generate you probably a good response, but it's not going to give you the exact information you want unless you directly specify that that is what you want. So I'm going to send this off, and ChatGPT 4 will take a little bit longer to generate a nice response. But as you can see right off the bat, without any output formatting, ChatGPT 4 is already adding nice big titles and some good subheadings. And now it's gotten to the part where it has created the table and it's finally finished its conclusion. That took all in all about 30 seconds. So this is good, but did we really have any control over what was being outputted? I don't really think we did. It kind of just came up with 5 different dog breeds that we had no idea were going to be generated. Actually came up with 4 different dog breeds, and then this table data is not really sorted in any way, and there's not much information that we are in control of. So now let's take this prompt, let's reformat it to be concise, and then look at the difference within the blog post. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this prompt, I'm going to hit new chat, change over to ChatGPT 4, and then I'm going to hit Control V so I can paste this prompt in here. And now I'm going to change it around. So I would change this around by getting rid of these first 3 words, can you please? And I'm going to make this capital, create me a blog post. This is kind of unnecessary information. I will get into the correct way to actually give context, but for now, we're going to leave out for my social media post, and we're just trying to generate a blog post. ChatGPT doesn't really need to know that this is for my social media post. And now we need to specify what kind of dog breeds do we want, or what do we want this blog post to actually be about. So instead of cool dog breeds, I could say comparing the top 5 most hostile dog breeds. So now we are clearly stating what we want. Instead of create me a blog post for my social media comparing cool dog breeds, we have create me a blog post comparing the top 5 most hostile dog breeds. So we are clearly stating what we want here. We want this blog post on 5 hostile dog breeds. So now you have to think about what else do you want out of this response? Well, if we're talking about blog posts, maybe we want a specified word count. What I like to do in order to sort information a little bit better is, now that ChatGPT has the topic, I like to hold shift and enter down twice. So now we have this line here, create me a blog post comparing the top 5 most hostile dog breeds. And now we can get into the concise sorting aspect and some of the elements we want present within this blog post. So I'm actually going to enter down twice more, and we will get to the table later. So let's first focus on the word count. Make this blog post 500 words long. And you also don't just have to do it based on word count, but you can also do it based on read time. So if you want a 3-minute long blog post, you just want a quick 3-minute read for your audience, what you could do is say, make this blog post a 3-minute read. And what it will do is get it pretty dang close to making it a 3-minute read. For now, we're just going to stick to the words. So make this blog post 500 words long. As you can see throughout this, we're also just using natural language. We're not trying to use any big fancy words for the computer to understand. We are just talking to it as if we were giving instructions to an employee. Now let's dive into the table. In this blog post, make a table at the bottom, and I'm going to delete this back half of the sentence. And I'm going to say, comparing these 5 hostile dog breeds. Okay, I'm being concise on what do I want the table at the bottom to be comparing. I want it to be comparing these 5 hostile dog breeds. And I'm going to continue this by saying, on a number of factors, including, and then I'm going to put a colon, and now I can list out factors that I want present within this table. I can say annual cost, hostility level on a scale of 1 to 10, shedding amount, and lifespan. Okay, so now instead of just saying create a table, we've said create a table, and then we've specified what we want the table to be about, the dogs within this blog post, on a number of factors including, and then we listed out factors that we wanted present within the table. So we have to be very concise in order to get the output right the first time, so we don't have to keep using those follow-up commands and changing the entire prompt and waiting for the response. The more work you do up front, the less follow-up commands you have to do. And the more follow-up commands you're doing, the more room for error ChatGPT has. And if you wanted to go a step further in being super concise, what you could do is you could sort this table by price low to high. So what I could say at the end of this sentence is sort this table from low to high pricing. Okay, and now we have a much better prompt than we had before with comparing the cool dog breeds. I could even go into more detail on the output formatting. Right now I just have 500 words long, but for the sake of time and for being concise and getting you this information, what I want to do is send this off to show you the different results. So I'm going to send this message, and GPT-4 is going to give a nice big title. So when you scroll down, as you can see, it generated some nice headings here, and all of these dog breeds are perceived as hostile. And when we keep scrolling down, as you can see, we have a Chihuahua here, a pretty small but very aggressive dog. And what it's done is it's made this table. It's created a custom hostility level on a scale of 1 to 10. It's given it a score. It's sorted the price from low to high. It's done everything we said, and that was without giving any follow-up prompts. That was from our first initial prompt, all because we were being concise. So it's important to tell ChatGPT what you want within your prompt in order to get the best results. Now, we are going to start getting into another principle, context. I believe context is a little bit easier to understand than concision because concision is a little bit subjective, but context is kind of a set thing you can do before you type out your prompts. Let me show you what I mean. So if we scroll down to context here on my whiteboard, we have stating a clear goal and explaining what you are trying to accomplish. Now, this may seem a little redundant and it might seem like I'm trying to say the same thing here, stating a clear goal and explaining what you were trying to accomplish. But what you can do is you can think of your clear goal from a project level. So what is your main goal, your main end result goal of the project you're trying to complete? So if I was building a website, my main goal would be to finish the website. Explaining what I'm trying to accomplish, the second bullet point here, those are going to be tasks within my goal that I want ChatGPT to help with. So let's say I'm a personal trainer and I'm having trouble with one of my clients. I don't really know what workout split to give him, and I kind of need ChatGPT's help in order to help out this client lose weight and gain muscle at the same time. So what we can do is we can use context for this problem we are having. I can start off by telling ChatGPT my main goal. Let's say the client came to me and wanted to lose 30 pounds of fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle. That is the clear goal. So what I told ChatGPT is I am a personal trainer and I am trying to help a client lose 30 pounds of fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle. So now ChatGPT has context into what I am doing in my main goal. What I could do now is type out the problem I am having. So now I've introduced the problem to the chatbot. I am struggling to find a good workout split where I can implement an efficient amount of cardio as well as a good amount of strength training. And then I can type in for my client. Now I can move on to giving the command. So what I can do is I can tell ChatGPT to generate me 3 workout splits that would be a good potential fit for this client. Okay, so now ChatGPT knows the context behind my problem. Instead of just saying I'm struggling to find a good workout split where I can implement an efficient amount of cardio as well as a good amount of strength training for my client, I've given it context to the metrics of what I want out of this workout split. So I want this workout split to have the ability to eat away 30 pounds of fat, but also gain 10 pounds of muscle at the same time. With that information, ChatGPT's answer is going to completely change. So now I've given the instructions to ChatGPT, generate me 3 workout splits that would be a good potential fit for this client, and I can send it off. And ChatGPT will work its magic and give some nice splits. And once again, ChatGPT stopped generating the response. So if you didn't see that in the previous example, what you can do is hit continue generating and it will continue generating the full response. But as you can see, it's generating 3 workout splits with workouts, reps, dedicated to this client that is trying to lose 30 pounds of fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle. And this is why it's important to give context, because ChatGPT will give extra information in order to help your problem. It says, nutrition will also play a significant role in achieving these goals, so ensure they are following a balanced diet with a slight calorie deficit to lose weight and sufficient protein to support muscle growth. So then maybe we could go into what would be a good diet for this client, and ChatGPT would generate that. That's why it's so important to give context, because had I not specified the weight loss goal and the strength goal, then it wouldn't be as personalized and detailed of an output. So that has been Concision in Context Principles. I hope that you took something away from this. I think it's very important to understand as well that you don't need to apply all of these concepts that I'm teaching you into every single prompt. You don't need to combine all of them, but maybe you can take 1 or 2 ideas from each one and combine it into your own prompts in order to generate much better results. It would be very stressful combining all of the Concision principles, all of the context principles, and all of what I'm about to show you in the beginner's prompting and the advanced prompting guides. It would be stressful to implement that into every prompt. But when you do, you get some very awesome answers. So take the structure of what I'm teaching you, and if you have a problem or a task that needs solved, I recommend trying it out as you go. There has to be something in your life, whether that's for business or personal use, that you can start trying some of these prompting techniques on. So I highly recommend, as we're going through the course, that if you have an idea that pops in your mind saying, I wonder if this would work, then definitely give it a shot with what I'm teaching you. The act of prompting gets much better as you prompt yourself and start to see the patterns of ChatGPT's responses. With that being said, I will see you in the next module where we go over one of the most fun aspects of ChatGPT, in my opinion, which is system functions, assigning roles to these chatbots. So I'll see you in the next module.